Well, hello, it's morning. Or should I say, g'day, mate, it's morning. Yep, this is our first Wednesday, July 1st, where we have Julie Palin speaking to us for Well, Hello, It's Morning from Australia. Very cool. It is cool. I just listened to it a little bit earlier today before I'm recording this opening, and I just gotta say, sometimes people don't know how good they've got it, and that might be the case for you. You don't know how good you've got it having Julie here speaking for us for the next few weeks over the summer. She's awesome. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. Anyways, enough of me. Let's get on to Julie Palin, live from YWAM, Australia.
Hey everyone, it's Julie and I'm here in Australia and I work with a Bible school and it's a missions organization. You might have heard of it. It's called Youth with a Mission and I'm really excited to do a series with you guys this summer. The first series will be on the book of Leviticus and the second one will be on the book of Hebrews. And you might wonder, why Leviticus? Why am I doing it on one of the weirdest books in the Bible? And that is exactly why. Because I figure if I can get you guys excited and get you interested in the book of Leviticus, what else wouldn't you want to explore in the Bible? And so we're kind of going to get rid of the hard one, and it's one of my favorites. And the reason why it's one of my favorites is because it teaches you so much about God, about his character, and about his holiness. And so we're going to talk about those different things. And the way that I'm going to do Leviticus is just in 4 short series. And the first one is going to be on why Leviticus, why do we have it? And so that's what we're going to do right now. So I hope you're excited and I hope you guys really learn something and get interested in this book of the Bible. And so why Leviticus? Where does it fit? What's happening? Why is it so weird? And so Leviticus is one of the first 5 books of the Bible, commonly referred to as the Law. You might have heard it called the Pentateuch or the Torah. All that means is it's the first 5 books of the Bible. And Leviticus is right in the middle. It's number 3. And so why do we have them? Why do we have the Law? It's actually really important for us today and for our understanding of God to actually explore those first 5 books of the Bible. And so we can't leave Leviticus alone. And so before we get more into that even, the story of the Bible is something important to consider because Leviticus, all of the books, they actually work together to tell the same story. And so it's not just something separate. It's not all these different people talking about this different stuff. It's all the story of God and him working to bring us into relationship with him. And so in Acts 17, and one of my favorite parts in that book, starting in verse 24, it's Paul, and he's talking to some people, and this is what he says. He says, "The God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord of heaven and earth, does not live in temples made by man, nor is he served by human hands as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mankind life and breath and everything. And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place, that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way toward him and find him." And so that's the story of the whole Bible. It's the story, it starts with creation, and then it's just this unfolding of people finding God and God working with people in different ways so that they can find him. And Leviticus is a huge part of that. And so what you're going to see as you start reading the Bible in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, all the way through, you're going to see this theme of separation and how God is going to continually separate people that are going to love him and serve him. And so it starts with Noah. He saves Noah and his family from the flood. And then he goes on to Abraham. And he separates Abraham and he says, "Abraham, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to make you a great nation. And through you, all the nations are actually going to be blessed." And so this is what is happening in Leviticus. God has taken Abraham. He's turned him into a nation. They've come out of Egypt. And now they are on their way to this land that God has for them. And so we have the nation of Israel is what is being dealt with here in Leviticus. And so when you think of a nation, you got to think about what do you actually need. Okay, so you need people, obviously. You need land, a place to live. You need law. So every nation today, they have those 3 things. You need someone that's in charge and just the culture, just who they are as a people. And so Leviticus and the other books of the law are going to primarily focus on that. It's going to set up the law. It's going to show you who the people are, where they came from, and it's going to show you that God is in charge. And that's a big deal for Israel to understand, because God is going to make himself their king in these first 5 books. And so when we think about reading the Bible, there's a couple things that we really need to consider. One of those things is that the Bible was not written to us, but it was written for us. And so as I go through in the different videos in the series, I'll be explaining some really specific cultural things for you guys to understand who these books were actually written to, because Leviticus is written to Israel as they're being formed as a nation. So obviously everything that's written in Leviticus is going to be really particular to them and when this was actually written. And so cultural background helps us understand why certain things are included. And that's what I'll talk about in one of my other sessions today. In Leviticus, sorry. And so what is the main focus of Leviticus? So the main focus of Leviticus is the law, specifically to show that God is holy, but it also deals with how Israel is actually going to be able to worship God and who he is and what that's actually going to look like in the Old Testament. So there's some pretty weird stuff, but it's actually really incredible because it's so relevant for us today, what you're going to find in Leviticus. And if you like studying literature and different things like that, I encourage you to read all the books in the law, because the way that they're put together is actually pretty incredible. So there's some really interesting literary techniques used to put Leviticus and the other books of the law together. And so each book is going to have kind of a flow, kind of a structure. And through the first 5, you're going to have usually some stories and then some law and then some stories and then some law. But then you get to Leviticus and it's all law, and it kind of focuses on first public worship, and then you're going to deal with private worship. And so how you can deal with God more personally. And so as you read through, which I really hope you do, you're going to see some of those different things touched on. And so what does holiness mean? Okay, holiness means to be set apart. And Leviticus is going to teach Israel about God's holiness and invite them to be this nation that he promised Abraham they'd become, to be this nation, this kingdom of priests that are going to be set apart and actually follow God. And so I encourage you this week, take the time to read Leviticus. Yeah, it's 27 chapters. Yes, there's a lot of weird animals and stuff mentioned, but you'll really benefit from that if you read it this week before we go into our next videos in the series. And so I hope this was a good introduction for you for Leviticus. And in our next one, we're going to talk about what's weird.